Hello class. This module we're going to be discussing American cinema in the 1940s. In the 1940s, the Hollywood studios were governed by the infamous Hollywood Production Code. This censored a lot of scenes and made it difficult for filmmakers to make the movie they wanted to make. However, it also encouraged them to be creative and subvert the prohibited narrative line. And this, in so doing, generated two storylines that both had very different meanings. Let's think about Casablanca, a Hollywood classic made in 1943 by Michael Curtiz. About 3/4 of the way into the movie, Ilsa, played by Ingrid Bergman, goes to Rick's room, who's played by Humphrey Bogart. She's trying to obtain letters of transit for her and her husband to escape Casablanca. She pulls a gun, but then breaks down crying, telling Rick why she left him in Paris. She ends by saying, "And I still love you." It is a close-up shot. They are in embrace. The movie dissolves to a 3.5-second shot of the airport tower at night and dissolves back to a shot from outside of Rick's room, and we see Rick looking out of the window smoking a cigarette. Rick turns around and says, and then she resumes her story. Well, what happened? Did they do it? The movie actually gives deliberate signals that they did do it, and at the same time, the movie gives deliberate signals that they did not do it. So let's think about it. They did it. Well, the 3.5-second shot actually stands for a much longer period of time. We also see that the couple in embrace that dissolves to a fade out usually implies the act after fade out. Of course, the cigarette that Rick is smoking is a classic signal for the act. And then when we cut to the airport tower, we see a shot of the very phallic airport tower. So what about if they did not do it? Well, the 3.5 seconds is actually diegetic time and meant to be a real 3.5 seconds. We can see in the background that the bed is undisturbed and the story resumes from where it left off. So this scene in Casablanca proves that the filmmakers deliberately constructed two alternative sources of pleasure for two very different people in the theater. We have the moral line for a more innocent crowd. However, for a more sophisticated audience, the filmmakers gave them an alternative, more daring storyline. And with this story that we see in Casablanca, the modern era of cinema transitions to the postmodern era. The narrative line becomes much more complex, and the audience starts to play a more active role in interpreting the story.